what is that, the red light district or whatever they have downtown?
I don't know about that. What is that?
What?
I think that's something completely different.
Red light district might be like the Netherlands, right?
If I end up in the red light district, it'll be our last.
No, look it up before we go. It's Gaslamp district. Oh, it was all a lie. It was all a dream. It wasn't the Gaslamp. He was at the red light. Look at him. Look how he's chippy and ready to go today. Yeah. He's refreshed. Him and the wife spent a whole week in the red light district. They are ready and energized, no doubt about it. No, he was near the Gaslight district. Did you go there?
We did
Ahmed
go there.
Fareed, Chris Sims. Sorry, I should tell everybody what we are. Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. What's up? It's a Monday podcast right after Week 10. Another crazy week in the NFL. But more importantly, yes, had a week off. Kicked some butt at the Breeders' Cup.
Thank you.
Wife came out there.
Yeah.
You went to the Gaslight District in San Diego? Gaslamp, whatever the hell it is.
So it was our 10-year wedding anniversary. So, I was covering the Breeders' Cup out there.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't you come out? We'll celebrate our 10-year out in California.
Right.
And it was awesome. And Chris told us to go to the red light district. So I said, I was like, hey, Chris says it's good. Let's try it. We looked it up. There is no red light district in San Diego. So, unfortunately, we had to just go to the Gaslamp.
Okay, good.
No, it was a good time.
That is a good area, right? It's been a while since I've been to that area. But, I mean, you can walk everywhere, right? Bars, little restaurants, like
restaurants
vibe,
everywhere.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday was lit there. We went to La Puerta out there. Awesome restaurant.
Right.
My good friend Alex Corbacero, who I do a lot of rugby with, he lives out there, gave us some great recommendations. So, San Diego was awesome. Like I always say about San Diego, I was like, don't go out there because you'll probably end up staying. Like the weather's perfect.
Agreed. My wife would stay out there if we went out there. She's like that kind of passionate about it, like you. I don't want to stay out there, but I'm cool with it.
And it's such a bummer that the Chargers left because I think it was a community that embraced them. Yeah. They just couldn't get them to pay for a stadium.
Yeah, couldn't get a stadium. That's all there was to it. But, cool area, definitely. Glad to have you back, though, Slugger.
Good to be back.
Good to see you back.
My wife knew that the anniversary and the vacation was over when I just stuck myself in front of the TV yesterday all day and didn't talk to anyone in my family.
Good.
Just watched
That's
football.
what a man does on Sundays. That's what you got to do. It's good to hear, definitely. And we had a lot to talk about. I mean, we really do. It's a crazy day, and there's definitely was some marquee games that I think jumped out to me where I just went, wow, like statement game, whatever you want to say. Yes. They're back on track. I mean, of course, we got the Chiefs and what they did last night. That was unbelievable. To me, second behind that might be the Patriots and the absolute smackdown they put on the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. I think those are the two shockers of the day, in my opinion. Again, we got a lot of other things to talk about as well, but those two stood out to me.
Right. All right. We'll get to that New England one a little bit later on because there were some statement wins, like you mentioned. Right. I think we'll group those together. We got give me the headlines so we get our creative juices flowing for some headlines for some of these games. Lions tied, which is amazing.
That's what your Lions do.
That's what we. In a weird way, it felt worse than a loss. It was like really like the way that game, the overtime was so ugly. It was just almost like I walked away. I was like, I hope they lose, and I think I'll feel better if they do for some reason. But let's start with some of the games where things that are back, things have returned to normal. And we're going to do this,
at least for now,
thanks to Damn O'Gay, presented by Under Armour.
I'm okay. Damn. I'm okay. Yeah, no, I mean, yes, I'm okay. The legal gambleizing. Oh, baby. I am Chris Sims. I'm okay. Damn. Okay.
Okay. So the first thing that is back, just when we started to doubt them, just when we started to say maybe they're not going to figure it out this year.
Right.
Maybe that offense is just not what it used to be and will never be what it used to be. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they ripped the Raiders 41-14. So Mahomes goes for 406 yards, 5 touchdowns. He had 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in his previous 5 games combined. So they're back. Safe to say that all problems are fixed. He looked healthier. The offense looked good. Now the Raiders' defense is, historically the past few years not been very good.
Yeah, not great.
Been better recently. Max
coached
Crosby
well,
has
right?
caused
Been able
some
to
problems.
get pressure on people. Him and Yannick Ngakoue, sure.
So the fact that they not only torched the defense but torched them and did it in spectacular fashion in prime time on NBC. That's a huge step in the right direction for them. What do you think of that?
Huge step. I'm not going to sit here and go, I think they're fixed. But, I mean, I no doubt was the best game of their season to this point. I think when you just look at both sides of the ball and what they did, First off, I mean, again, everybody out there, you've been listening to me, what I've been saying on the podcast, the plays I've been breaking down, and I think that's kind of caught fire around, the rest of the NFL media where people have realized that, like, yeah, we didn't want to kind of blame it on Patrick Mahomes at first. And, I don't ever want to make it about the quarterback. I don't. And it's certainly not been great around him in some aspects. I know that. But that was the best game he played all year long as far as just accurate throws, clean decisions. I mean, I think he only had one, maybe two dicey decisions on the night, maybe one that could have been intercepted. He had a ball down the middle. But I think it just got back to everything we've talked about. Like, on a lot of the Wednesday, what the happened podcasts, it's been him leaving the pocket too early, him not staying true to the read, going like, wait, number one's open. Why are you already looking at number two? Why did you predetermine or make up your mind that one wasn't going to be open? That, let alone some questionable decisions outside the pocket and turnovers that have led to, less than stellar play. For the last few weeks, the defense has been getting better. I know they didn't play a lot of great offenses, but I do think you could substantially look at it and go, ooh, things have stopped a little bit. They're challenging people at the line of scrimmage more as far as putting people there. They're covering on the back end, I think, playing a little bit more man-to-man. Earlier in the year, they were a lot into, we're going to disguise and blitz, and they would drop out and play zone coverages and do that, and they kept getting toasted. So that stopped, but I think the main driving force, of course, was Mahomes and what they did. And, really, for the night, it just was everything that we've all talked about in the NFL around the Chiefs. Can they be patient? Can he stay true to the reads? Can they continue just to be boring and go, fine, it's 11-play drive, 11-play drive, 11-play drive. Who cares? And then as what we saw as the night went on, finally the Raiders finally went, okay, they're patient tonight. We got to start coming up and being a little bit more aggressive. And we saw a few shots down the field, too, that hit. So if they can stick with that, of course they're going to be dangerous. I'm not ready to stamp it and go they're back yet because I feel like we've had a few moments this year where we kind of gone, oh, okay, I see some light at the end of the tunnel. Here we go. And the next week it falls off. So I guess I'd like to see one more week of execution to that level.
Yeah, the Chiefs went 3 and out on their opening drive. Yeah. And I was like, here we go again.
So did I.
And then they never punted again after that. Here's their scoring drives if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock as well. Touchdown, field goal, touchdown, field goal, touchdown after that. And they were long drives, too. You got an 11-play drive, 10-play, 13-play drive.
That's the key to the whole thing where that's what we've all been talking about. Yeah, they were spoiled. The first 3-4 years of the Patrick Mahomes experiment, I mean, yeah, they were talented. They were aggressive down the field. And the league, really when Mahomes came to the league was a little bit more into the dink and dunking passing attack, and it caught everybody as a surprise. They're used to big plays. They're used to the kind of the greatest show on turf, but they do that right there. That'll get them a step closer to being back to the greatest show on turf because, it's just at some point defenses are going to go, okay, we can't die slow deaths like this. They're obviously willing and mature enough and patient enough to make it happen, and that was awesome to see. I think that added to the pass protection. I mean, I wanted to go Mac Crosby and Yannick Ngakoue. I mean, did they play last night? Did they play? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to them.
No, I know Crosby played because he got that penalty.
He got the penalty, right. But, I mean, other than that, again, there just was no moment of the game where you felt like, wow, he's really under pressure. The O-line got it going. They're running the ball just enough to kind of keep you honest in that department. And spread the ball around a lot, too. I think that would be the other thing I look at as far as just you couldn't just staple it down to one or two guys. And that's because he listened to the offense. He listened to the defense, I should say. And he went where they told him to go. It's like playing chess or checkers. I mean, you don't just make a move and go, well, I just want to move here because I want to move here. No, you got to listen to the board sometimes and go, wait, this guy did this. I got to do this accordingly off of that. And I think that's what jumped out about the Chiefs last night.
Addy M27 thinks he identified a turning point in Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
He goes, damn okay, Patrick Mahomes back to his old self. I feel like the turning point was the last throw he made versus the Packers. Do you agree?
Well, it could be a little bit of a jump off, no doubt.
Get his groove back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he certainly was excited. That was a big play, off schedule, running to his right. He's talking about that third down that sealed the deal against the Packers. That might have been something that kind of just got them off and made them feel good. But that first touchdown drive, I feel like you just saw the momentum kind of creeping along as the night went along last night. And the game was 41-14, and really, I don't know, it might have been going in a worse direction than that if Hughes doesn't fumble the punt return at one point. But I just think, all in all, that was the big thing I looked at. We broke it down on the Peacock show a little bit. Mahomes stayed in the pocket throughout the night. You could see his eyes were in the right place all night long, and the Raiders really had no answer for it. And the Raiders and Gus Bradley, traditionally have given them a tough time because they play, the deep dropping Seattle scheme, and they'll play some quarters coverage, the coverages that we've seen them have issues with. But you see right here with the spray chart, I mean, he was willing last night to take the 10, the 8, the 5 all night long and wasn't going to force the issue.
Yep. And the Raiders, despite all that, I mean, they had a chance in this game. Deshaun Jackson's got that long pass completion.
Right, we thought we were ready for a shootout there for a minute.
And then he fumbles immediately over.
And that was a game.
The game was over.
Right
and then
there.
the Chiefs stayed aggressive with the fake punt, the pass by Tommy Townsend. Good,
right.
Not a bad throw for a punter.
Very good throw.
Little low,
great call.
Spiral.
I mean, again, sometimes as a coach, you got to jumpstart your team a little bit or help your team put a team away right there and then knowing, wait, this is the moment. Yeah. It's 27-14. We floundered out on that drive, but our offense has been pretty good right now. They found the exact right punt return formation. But I think that, like I said, along with the way the defense played, it was their best game of the year by far.
And Darrell Williams with one of the best catches that we'll see all season long from a running back.
Yes. There's no doubt the one-on-one
one of the
ball
best catches.
That's
receiver, running
we
back
started to see Mahomes-type magic a little last night.
Yeah.
Again,
gain that confidence.
Gain confidence. Look great. I'm not trying to take anything away. But I spent my Saturday morning, again, I'm just going to dive down there one more time, looking at tape of him from last year for some plays from Peacock that we were going to show last night in case, he didn't play well. I was going to kind of show, this is the difference of him last year. And, I don't know, just that to my naked eye, he still doesn't quite look the same. I'm just going to say that. There's something off as far as the way he's throwing the ball a little bit, and the movement does look different. I know I've said that all year long. People probably think I'm crazy.
No, there was a play. I think it was against the Packers where it's like he's running out of bounds, and you can tell he just steps awkwardly, and then he's limping a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a little.
It's not the same.
Might be something,
but either way, it doesn't matter. The way he played last night, and if he plays in the pocket like that, they're going to be very tough to beat.
And he utilized Travis Kelce, 8 catches, season high, 119 yards. Randy Darsh, 350.
Yeah.
Hey Sims, love the podcast.
What up,
he's buttering you up.
Yes.
He might be trying to tear you down here. Be aware of that. It seems like every season you're looking for someone to take over the best tight end title from Travis Kelce, whether it's Kittle, Waller, even Kyle Pitts. Is this like the Aaron Donald effect of getting bored of crowning a guy? In any case, he's still incredible.
He's still incredible. There's no doubt about that. I guess there is. You're always kind of looking for that new guy that you think can jump up over them. I think Kittle being in the prime of his career, a little bit what he can do after the catch. Yeah, it excites me, but I mean, he can't stay available and healthy. He's certainly a better blocker than Travis Kelce. And, Waller, of course, the start he got off to, he's such a big specimen, kind of being in the prime of his career. Yeah, I think their high-end talent is probably greater than his right now. But, the one thing with Kelce, he's consistent. He's always out there healthy. And where he's really special is he just has a tremendous feel and instinct of the game of, just where to sit or where to uncover if Mahomes is moving in the pocket. And that, to me, is where they're so deadly. Mm-hmm. And it was good to see that connection kind of get back, on track last night.
There's one more thing that I want to talk about with this game, and it involves Travis Kelce. It also involves Darren Waller. There was a tweet after the game. This one coming from Jerry MCD, who's been covering the Raiders forever when they're in Oakland. And so if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock right now, you got Waller and Kelce. They're on the field. They've exchanged jerseys. And Jerry's been covering this rivalry. And this is a rivalry. Raiders-Chiefs. I mean, one of the most, if you were to say, what's the most hated rivalry in football, this might be.
It's up there.
This might be one of them.
Yes.
Perhaps the top one. Jerry goes, I love the way both these guys play, but can you imagine any Raiders and Chiefs trading jerseys with big smiles in the 1970s after one team blew out the other? Different eras. And I do feel like there's a little bit of tension with the way that end of game, and I've seen this throughout the year. It was when the Lions got blown out by the Eagles. I know some people talked about the fact that, their players were out there shaking hands, exchanging jerseys. That's not a big deal, and maybe it is a different time, and maybe some fans don't care. But I think that's something to keep an eye on, because at the moment that you get a feeling like the players don't care as much as you do as a fan,
sure,
win or lose, or don't have that same gut-wrenching feeling after a loss, it is a little bit of dangerous territory.
I understand that. I understand the thought all the way. I get it. Just because they take a picture doesn't mean like Darren Waller didn't go home and wasn't disappointed and pissed off in his car ride home that night, and didn't mean he went out and partied and was just like, oh, f*** it, we lost, so what? No. Again, I think aren't we out of a point here in 2021 where you can be both? Like, you can be like, wait, I admire you. You had a great game tonight. I only play in this league for so long. Let's swap jerseys and do that. Like, it could still be, highly competitive and personal with that. Now, is it the same way in the 70s or 80s? No, it's never going to go back that way. It's over. I'm sorry. That's gone. I've talked about this a lot, in other podcasts. One, the world has changed as far as social media. A lot of these guys know each other through social media. Two, they all end up at camps, or this Nike camp, this Under Armour camp, this Adidas camp, this 7-on-7 thing. Oh, we're having the tight end summit. We're having the pass rushing summit, to where there's really some, I don't want to say a little bit of a friendship that's struck up, or at least a little personal relationship. That didn't go on in the 80s. I could speak from my dad's era. He wasn't like hanging out with other players and doing that. So, let alone how you come up through high school and college.
Right.
You're at all these 7-on-7 camps, these recruiting things. So you're seeing these people a lot more. And the other aspect to why we'll never get back to the 70s or Eagles Giants of the 80s or any of that, again, is because of free agency and the salary cap. The league is equal now. That's why it's crazy. It's fun. But back then it was not equal. I could tell you the 5 teams that were going to win the Super Bowl every year. Every year, it wasn't equal. You knew who was going to win the Super Bowl in the 70s and 80s. You could boil it down to a 6-team league and go, it's going to be one of them. And so there's that aspect. But yeah, do you lose the personal aspect? Yeah, you do, because free agency and the salary cap makes people change teams so much.
Sure.
I've talked about this with my dad before. Like, my dad hated the 49ers in the 80s. He hated them, like, personally, professionally, everything. It was the same guys on the team year after year after year. So it does become personal, where you're like, wait, it's Joe Montana and Jerry Rice and Ronnie Lott, and I'm sick of them looking at me when they're beating me and talking shit, and I hate them. And so that aspect is not the same anymore, and I don't think we're ever going to get it back.
And I think you can argue that sports is better when there's that hate, because sports is not real life. This is the alternate reality, right? It's like you can't do that in real life, but in sports, you can have a little hate. And I do think that's part of the tension with the taunting penalties, because I think people are like, man, finally I'm seeing like these guys have a little disdain for the opponent. And now the NFL is taking the taunting away. Now you can't even shove it in someone's face, because this is not real life.
No, I know.
This is sports. So just something to kind of like think about.
I wish they could find a way. We're going on a different topic, but I don't care. It's a good one, I think. I wish they could find a way to keep the core players of a franchise team or a team on their franchise.
100%.
I think we've talked about this a little bit, like with basketball, how they have that. Like, if you could maybe mark 5-6 guys on the team and go, there are franchise guys, right?
Yes.
It's not or franchise guys, and if we give them $100 million, it only counts at $70 million against a cap, right?
Yep.
Something like that. That might be able to, strike up a little bit of the personal, hate once again.
Yep.
But it's hard to hate guys and do all that when, okay, Travis Kelce might have hated Darren Waller. Damn, he's breathing down my neck. But a few players from the Raiders come over to the Chiefs and they tell him how good of a guy Darren Waller is. And then Darren Waller one day's on the phone with one of those guys in the locker room. And they go, hey, here's Kelce. And they talk. And it's like, well, yeah, it's hard to hate the guy now. Like, I wanted to hate him, but I can't. So that's where, the world has become smaller that way, and it's taken away from some of that, hate and the rivalries, no doubt about it.
Maybe just keep the love behind closed doors. Maybe don't show it.
Maybe I hear what you're saying.
Maybe some of these players actually hate their own teammates more because they're taking playing time away and taking money away from them.
Well,
who
listen,
knows?
I can promise you, though, just because they take a picture like that has no bearing on how they feel after the game or anything. They can be both. They can be sportsmen and show good sportsmanship and love the game and love a guy they're competing against and still be mad and pissed off as hell that they lost the game and didn't play their best.
You know who might have been mad and pissed off after last week?
Who?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Ooh.
Because they showed it on the field in our other game of who's back. The Dallas Cowboys offense is back. They defeat the Falcons 43-3. On Wednesday's podcast, you said, this is out of your mouth, you said you were not worried about the Cowboys offense long term.
No. The Cowboys offense, it wasn't physically dominated last week against the Denver Broncos. They messed up a few situations. And as I said last week, Dak Prescott was off his game. Just like we saw yesterday. I don't give a damn who you are. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Peyton Manning, if you haven't played a long time or practiced in a while, you're not going to be able to go on the field and just, this is like riding a bike and I'm just going to kick butt right from the get-go. No, you're not. We saw Wilson and Rodgers struggle yesterday, big time. But I think, Dallas absolutely overwhelmed them on both sides of the football. Last week they couldn't get off the field on defense, and they couldn't stay on the field on offense with 3rd and 4th down conversions. Yesterday they drive the ball, they get a touchdown. Atlanta tries to come back, go for it on a 4th and 7 in field goal territory, which, again, I don't love. I'm just going to sit there and tell you I don't love it. It's 7-3. I don't understand that. We don't want to just make it 7-6.
Yeah.
I'm still a little confused.
Although in retrospect they needed to score 44 points.
Well,
so maybe
yes,
it was the
but
right call.
how do you also not know that wasn't the jump off point there? You gave your team nothing positive, and there's another team that had something positive, now a double positive because you have the 4th down stop, and they go down, and now they make it 14-3. And then the next drive, they stop them, and they convert another 4th down throw, and the game got out of hand, and then block a punt. Atlanta's one of those teams that, they're not super talented. They're coached well, but they need the game to be played a certain way for them to win a football game. And Dallas yesterday on the offensive side of the ball definitely got back on track. And you saw their defensive line and company really just all over Matt Ryan all day. And Falcons offense just could never get any rhythm or anything going at all.
Dak Prescott with 2 touchdowns. Both of his touchdown passes were versus the blitz per Pro Football Focus.
Yeah.
He has 15 touchdowns versus the blitz this season. Second most is Tom Brady with 9. So Dak has the most. Don't blitz him. Don't blitz his offense.
Well, yeah, duh. You can't blitz him. First off, they have a great offensive line. Second off, he doesn't care. He doesn't get affected by pressure, Dak Prescott. He's big, so he doesn't care about getting hit. He's athletic, so if he feels like he's got to move a little bit when pressure's coming, so what? And then ultimately, what's the biggest issue? You blitz, you're going to leave people on the back end compromised, and they got weapons galore. So it's a well-coached team that is got, again, an elite offense that will be able to, as barring injury, going to be able to move the ball on anybody. Am I going to sit here and tell you I still think their defense is top-notch? No, but their energy, the creativity Dan Quinn brings, and their physicality covers up a lot, and they just totally overwhelmed Atlanta yesterday.
Dan Quinn, medicine man, beats his former
good for
team.
Him. Way to go, Dan
Even
Quinn.
they stepped up without DeMarcus Lawrence, right?
Yep.
They didn't have Randy Gregory.
Right.
So a guy by the name of Dorrance Armstrong
Dorrance Armstrong, number 92. Yeah,
1
he's a
sack,
player.
3 pressures.
Yep.
Blocked the punt before the half.
Michael Parsons was at the end of the line of scrimmage a bunch again yesterday, kind of playing a defensive end, stand-up linebacker role. They found a way to get it done. And, again, Atlanta, Cordell Patterson got hurt. What was that, Pete, if you can remember? I think he got hurt maybe in the second quarter. Maybe it was first quarter. And they're already, limited in the weapon department. They ride Pitts and Cordell Patterson too hard as it is to begin with. No Calvin Ridley there. There's not a lot to offer. Yeah. So that's a big thing for them altogether. Atlanta's one of those teams. They're 4-5. I give them a lot of respect. I don't really think they're that good. I don't. Maybe they'll sneak into the playoffs. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to the Atlanta fans or fan base or anybody down there. I get that, but I just don't see anything I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel to go, they're 4-5, but watch out. They might be able to go on a run here and be 9-5 or 10-5 at some point. No.
But hold on. One good thing for Atlanta is they held Dak Prescott to 296 yards. Now, I think Dak did not play the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But in this week's edition of Stats Lie,
right.
Atlanta is one of 3 teams to not allow a 300-yard passer. so far this season. So you'd think like, wow, elite defense, or maybe it's just because they can get up early on you and run all over you. They don't have to throw the ball.
That's what I would say. I mean, yeah. I mean, the Eagles kind of whooped that ass, and they didn't have to play much in the fourth quarter. The Buccaneers did that, and they're lost. They went at 48-25. They called off the Dogs.
If you have a bad enough run defense, you can have an elite pass defense because people just don't do it against you.
Well, yeah, you're right. You're right. And, you really look at it. They haven't played, other than Brady, they've played the Giants, the Washington, the Jets, Miami, Carolina, New Orleans. No great passing attack other than the Bucs and the Cowboys. And the game got out of hand to where, like you just said, quarterback didn't have to play the fourth quarter, so they didn't get to, add to their stats as was.
Any idea the other two teams that have not given up a 300-yard passing game this year? The other two are actually legit good teams.
All right, so
you got Atlanta in there, and you got two other teams.
Okay, all right, hold on. Give me a second here. Let me just think about this. I'm not looking at schedules. I'm just looking at standings right here.
You're looking at the teams.
Looking at the teams.
As Chris often does, he'll bring up the teams.
I want to say Patriots.
Patriots, no.
No, somebody threw for 300 on Patriots.
Someone threw for 300 against them.
Okay. Buffalo.
Buffalo is one.
Right. Okay. Now, the other one, 300-yard passers. Gosh, the New Orleans. Who am I missing here? You said it's a good team, right?
Good team.
It's NFC.
And a good defense that we'll be talking about later in this podcast. NFC.
Carolina? No. Who is it?
Green Bay Packers.
I should have known. Green Bay's defense has not gotten enough respect from me or a lot of people, so I can understand that, no doubt.
They will here soon.
Yeah.
But now we're going to go to that other team you mentioned that has not given up a 300-yard passer, the Buffalo Bills.
Right.
Their own guy had a good game at quarterback, Josh Allen. They beat the Jets 45-17. So, no, they did not allow Mike White to throw for 400 yards. Maybe you were right. He was who you thought he was, Mike White, with the 4 interceptions here. But, I mean, this was just another dominant performance by Buffalo. A week after losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars 9-6, they bounced back in all facets, 45 points, almost 500 yards of total offense. And if you're watching on YouTube or Peacock, those two guys had a game, Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, just tearing up that secondary for the Jets.
Yeah.
A bounce-back game for the Bills.
Bounce-back game. I think a good jump-off for their offense to kind of get back going once again, no doubt. Hey, listen, I'll even say yesterday, there's a lot of big plays there. There's a lot of good. Don't get me wrong. But the Buffalo offense, I don't come away. Again, the Jets defense is struggling. There's not a great pass rusher. Their corner position is simply it's compromised there.
Yeah.
You can see they've kind of fallen apart on that side of the ball here as of late. All right. The one thing I'll say too, even though yesterday I know it's a lot of good stats, I don't see a ton of execution.
Whoa.
I know.
Whoa.
I see a lot of big plays.
All right, I'm going to throw another stat at you. They had 9.06 yards per play.
I know.
Second best in franchise history.
I know, but see, this is where I look at it a little different limp. It's awesome. And they got some awesome players. And they got arguably the most physically gifted quarterback in all of the NFL. And Stephon Diggs, of course, is a top 10 receiver in football. But what I would love to do, and again, I don't know. I need to watch the film back. But to me, it still was very big play centric.
There were a lot of big plays in the passing game. It was a lot
of, Diggs is one-on-one, and I'm going to throw the perfect ball. Diggs is one-on-one, and he's going to burn that guy's ass and make him toast. That, to me, does not – you're not going to get away with that against the better defenses is all I'm saying. It's still really good. It's hopefully something they can build on. It was good to see Josh Allen and Diggs kind of reconnect, and maybe they can, fire up the connection there once again. But to me, that is something that did jump out, even though I know it was an awesome football game. So it's great for Buffalo on that side of the ball. Matt Breida did add something to their offense a little bit.
But he came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. Well, I think he's been banged up and hurt. So, but they need somebody like that. And I thought he was really good in the passing game. Like even on, let's just say, the first touchdown. That play wasn't intended to be that. I don't know if you remember or saw it. Like Josh Allen drops back. He steps up in the pocket. And Breida was just running a swing route. Like it was supposed to be, I'm going to look to the middle, to the left, to the back, and throw it there. Nobody was open. Nobody. Then Josh Allen just bought some time, and Breida was like, well, I guess I'll just keep running up the sideline. It wasn't the play.
Yeah.
And then Josh Allen just like, I'm stepping up in the pocket. Here comes the sidearm laser for a 35-yard touchdown. Boom. And we're all like, man, they're awesome offense. But I just want to go, that's players making plays, not necessarily execution like we saw the Chiefs offense make last night, or what you have to do, to me, to get to the Super Bowl. So it's still that little concern, but still a lot of positives. There's no doubt. I'm not trying to be a total hater here. I know
You're being
I sound
a little
like
bit
that.
of a hater. It was almost like Sean
realistic.
McDermott called you and was like, hey, Chris, why don't you talk us down a little bit?
Pump the brakes on us a
pump the
little
brakes so that
But
we don't
they
get a
had
big
the little
head.
speed sweep reverses. They ran the ball a little bit.
Creative
like
in the running game. Yeah,
Yes.
they did. They had 4 different players score rushing
They got
touchdowns
to do
in
that.
the game.
I like that a lot.
And Josh Allen, 305 of his 366 yards were off the play action.
Right.
So that's the second most ever in the next-gen era for a quarterback.
Wow.
So they did use the run game to kind of – and maybe that is something. I mean, we've been talking about for 2 years now how they got to find something in the running game.
100%.
I mean, Matt Breida, a healthy Matt Breida, one of the fastest guys in the NFL, right? He can give him something.
He can definitely give him something. Again, they don't need to reinvent the wheel running the ball. A little bit like we've talked about with Kansas City. They got to give you something else to think about. It can't just be Josh Allen and Diggs making stuff happen. And I think what we saw there yesterday is you just sprinkle in a few little new ideas and things for the defense to think about, it can really open up the field for them. And that was good. And again, when Josh Allen is playing like that, to me, it's one of the best watches in football. It's like watching Mahomes when he's on fire or Rodgers on fire. You just go, oh my gosh, is he serious with that throw and like that move and that throw, or throw the ball from that angle? It's really great. And then, hopefully we can now, again, this is not personal to Mike White. I root for him.
CVS for beats.
Right.
Victory lap for Chris, because now the New York media can stop with the Mike White is better than Zach Wilson crap.
Oh, my gosh. Shut the up, Jets fans. I'm dead serious. That is personal to you, Jet fans. You lost your damn mind in the last few weeks. You lost your damn minds, all right? And I've been saying that to my friends, too. I'm not negative on Mike White. I know I probably sound that way, because I had one of my Jet friends yesterday was like, dude, what's your deal with Mike White? It's like, no, it's not Mike White. It's idiots like you that's texting me that think he's like, they should trade Zach Wilson. That's where I'm like, no, you guys are idiots. Sorry. And you saw there yesterday. Again, he's good. I get it. He's a high-level backup quarterback. Maybe he can develop into being a low-level starter. I don't see any physical gifts to make me think, oh, well, watch out for this guy in the future.
Right.
Wasn't good in the pocket yesterday. Wasn't good in the pocket in the Colts game. That's why he got hurt. He doesn't understand, wait, they're bearing down on you. You can't just throw the ball with your normal throwing motion and still throw it.
And why would he? He has very little experience. Right?
I understand that. So there's that. And then, of course, the decisions, what you saw yesterday and everything, it all unraveled. So, again, it's not personal to Mike White. I have a lot of respect for what you did, how you've handled yourself. I'm all cool with that. It's more on the Jets fan base that needs to shut up. And, yes, I think we'll probably see Zach Wilson here soon.
You don't dislike Mike White. You just dislike the people who like Mike White.
Well,
that's all you. That's simple enough.
Well, to me, it's just a bigger, again, the bigger theme.
It was way reactionary.
Exactly right. And a reactionary, Ahmed, and I don't even know, you might have not been here for this, but going into that game where he threw against the the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean, the Jets were getting crucified up here by the same fans that Mike White was the backup. How stupid are they to have him as the backup?
Yeah.
And then it was 4 days later, and it was, let's trade Zach Wilson and go with Mike White.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to listen to New York Sports Radio.
You know what? Jets fans, they're looking for something positive.
Yeah.
They thought maybe they had something, and now it's gone.
No, it's gone.
But you know who's back?
Yeah. Who?
Cam Newton.
I'm back.
Which, when you yell like that in a crowded, loud area, you do have to go higher pitch.
Yeah.
It's like he had to go a few octaves higher than his normal voice to hear it on the broadcast, which we did.
Yes, we did.
Cam Newton did it, played 9 snaps. He scored a rushing touchdown on his first running snap. He threw for a touchdown on his first passing snap in the year. So here it is. If you're watching on YouTube here, 43rd career game with a pass TD and a rush TD that extends his NFL record. First game with the Panthers since week 2 of the 2019 season. It's just more proof that the NFL has the best script writers of any league that has ever existed.
It's amazing.
It's like the storylines that are produced in the NFL are amazing.
It really is. I'm very happy for him. I really am, first off. Again, I know not everybody loves Cam. But I do think he pours his heart and soul into the sport. I do. And he is, a legend of the sport. So I think that's the big thing that jumps out to me. But, the magic formula, and we'll see what they do with Cam going forward. I don't know if they make him the starter or not. The one thing I always say with Cam, he's going to bring energy to your football team. You saw a little spark there yesterday. You saw a spark from Carolina that you haven't seen, right? That's the Cam Newton effect. He has that ability. And then, as I've always said, even with New England, I know New England released him. I get that. But, man, it was a lot of positive things New England said about him until he kind of messed up the COVID testing protocol and all that.
You think that's when it went south, really, for them?
I think so. I think that's where it became like, wait, Max just continues to get better, and Cam's a little bit, not dependable that way, and that probably scared them. To me, that's where it went off. But up to that point, listen, I talked to people up there. He was loved. There was love for the things I'm talking about.
They thought he was a better leader his first year than Tom was at the end.
Exactly. And then, and then the other thing I think with Cam too is, as you've probably heard me say before, he has a presence about him. And when you go on the field with Cam Newton, you go, I feel like we got a chance. I don't know why, but because that big sucker's the quarterback and we got a chance. So yesterday, Cam Newton, McCaffrey being back was huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, McCaffrey was phenomenal, not only in the run game, but the pass game. And they rode him hard that way, too. He changes their football team. Yeah, they're struggling passing the ball and moving the ball. But you got Cam now who can add a few wrinkles to the run game, right? And now you got McCaffrey coming out of the backfield in the pass game. And you got to worry about his ability to break big runs. And it changes their team a little bit. You see how talented their defense is, right? Their defense is extremely talented. It's one of the best in football. It is. I know it's fallen off a little bit as late, but when your offense is shit all the time, it's hard to just hold down the fort all the time. And then here's my last thing, too. Because, the Cardinals struggled, but this is another one, another fourth down. I don't get.
Oh, boy.
I don't get. Who did we just talk about it a minute ago? The Falcons at 7-3. It was 4th and 7, I think, on the Falcons one. They went for it, too. And they have a pretty good kicker. Okay, so this one, it's 7-0. The Carolina Panthers have not done shit on offense in 5 weeks. You're going to go for it on a 4th and 1? Where were they on their they weren't even at midfield. I think they were at the 42-yard line. 42-yard line. Your defense has been great all year. Punt the ball and pin them down there. And see if P.J. Walker, who's making, his first or second NFL start in the history of his life, can move the ball down the field again. That, to me, was stupid. I'm sure the analytics said to go for it, and if you make it, you'll win the game 99.9% sure until that 0.01% comes back and you lose. Yeah. No. Shut up. That, to me, was so stupid. Bad decision right there, and that gave Carolina the jump, and they kind of kept it going there. From there, Colt McCoy, they drive down. He then tries to run to the right, throw the back ball across the middle of the field, right? It gets intercepted. I don't care who you are. 2 mistakes like that, even when you're the best team in football like the Arizona Cardinals, it's the NFL. You're going to be in deep trouble if that happens.
So what's going to happen next with Carolina at the quarterback position? Because P.J. Walker wasn't bad.
No, he's not bad.
22 of 29 gives him some stuff, some mobility too there, just like Cam. Matt Rule said this morning, quote, "I don't want Cam light. I want the full Cam. We'll give Cam most of the reps and get him up to speed as much as possible." Mike Florio has said that he is expected to start next week, and he would start against his old coach, Ron Rivera, and Washington, a defense that might be without Chase Young there. So, I mean, you think Cam will just eventually take over as he's the guy, he's the full-time starter?
It sounds like it's been sounding like that from the get-go, from when and even people I've talked to around the league. P.J. Walker, first off, did do a good job. You're exactly right. We need to give him credit. He's a good little player. He's another guy I would throw into low-level starter, high-end backup. He is. He controls the ball well, but I think they know their offense isn't as great as it should be. I think Matt Rule's smart and knows that people have caught on to the Joe Brady passing system a little bit too, and I think he knows that they need to play through their defense, which is their elite unit, and Cam Newton running the football gives them just a little bit of another schematical thing to think about that helps Joe Brady out. And then I think it goes into the thing we just talked about, Ahmed. His leadership, his presence, his energy he brings. That's why he's saying that's why we want the full Cam Newton. He knows there's a real effect there. And Matt Rule, who I know talks to Bill Parcells, I'm sure has heard plenty of stories from the New England coaching staff about Cam Newton and understands kind of what the guy he is, let alone from people that might have been around in Carolina when Cam Newton left the first time.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey said that Cam brings an energy unlike anyone that he has ever known.
That's
he has
what I
ever
mean.
known before.
Everybody says it.
And is there any other team? I can't even think of another team that could have used that energy more than the Carolina Panthers, because an elite defense,
yes,
a playoff defense
right,
for sure.
Definitely. A playoff defense.
But an offense that was just so depressing to watch.
Yeah.
So like a team that's still in the mix, that still has a chance to do something this year. They needed that energy, and they got it. And you wonder, I mean, like, is this it for Sam Darnold?
Yeah, it is in Carolina for sure. It's it.
What about anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, his injury itself, I think, is borderline for him to get back by the end of the year. Yeah. And I think they've already said, nah, you're done for the year. They've seen enough. I think that's it for him. He's going to be relegated to a backup quarterback spot, and he's going to have to earn his way to be a starter again. Don't count out the Carolina Panthers because of the things you just said. Carolina certainly can still go to the playoffs because you said it. They got a good front four. They got extremely athletic linebackers. Their secondary's versatile and, of course, very good there. And how good for Hassan Reddick. I want to say that about him too. Kind of getting the jump off with a strip sack early in the game. Okay. He came from Arizona, give him the short field for that first touchdown that got them going. But, hey, what a gift when you get a strip sack for a 15-yard touchdown drive, and then the next drive, the team decides to go for it on fourth down on their own territory, and now you have a 40-yard drive for a touchdown. That'll make your offense feel good anytime. Now they think, whoa, we're moving the ball today. Look at us. We're kind of on fire. And that's where I did not agree with the Cliff Kingsbury decision there.
These football games can get very short.
They can get very short.
Very short.
Exactly.
You're down 14-0, and all of a sudden it's halftime,
and you're playing a game you don't want to play. You start to panic. Yes, no doubt about that.
It's a young defense for Carolina, but credit to Shaq Thompson.
Yeah.
Once again, 7th year there in Carolina, 1 sack, couple quarterback hits, had 2 pass breakups
They
as
were
well.
flying around yesterday. They overwhelmed
defense.
Arizona.
Such a fun defense to watch.
It is.
And the offense was actually fun to watch this past week. So
Yep.
Carolina gets the win over the Cardinals. That's a statement win. We're going to need more statement wins here in just a second. But first, we want to remind you, we're supported by Under Armour. Just like us, Under Armour wants to give you an edge.
They are focused on performing better and taking their game to the next level, like Ahmed Fareed.
Everything from running shoes that propel you forward to hoop shoes that give you insane grip. They even make hoodies that reflect energy.
We're not just about the end result, winning or glory.
Under Armour is about the hard work, the dedication, the cycle of training, competing, and recovering.
We give you advantages, but not shortcuts. The only way is through.
We didn't even
practice it. I knew where you wanted to go. I just read you.
I'm gonna start it.
I just read you, man. It was like you were Kelsey and I was Mahomes, and I was like,
"Yep,
it's zone defense."
I know
you'll sat down. You'll sit in the right spot, and we'll make it happen. That's just what I felt like there. Special connection right there.
A little anxiety. I was like, "Is Chris gonna pick it up?"
He's back from the red light district. He's got some pep in his step.
We're back, Kathleen. If you're listening, I did not go to the red light district. It's a joke from earlier in the podcast.
It's a joke, Kathleen. It's a joke. I'm just being funny, and wasn't even being funny. I was legitimately being stupid. That's just what that was.
So a big statement win for the Panthers. Big statement win for the Green Bay Packers. Want to give a lot of love to the defense for the Packers in this one, which we will do. But we'll start off with, it was Russell Wilson. He's back. Versus Aaron Rodgers. He's back. He's naturally immunized now from everything that has happened. And so you're like, all right, well, maybe we'll get a shootout here. We did not get a shootout.
No, we did not.
It was 3-0 deep into the game, into the, fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter, yeah.
So both quarterbacks, Russell Wilson looked worse than Aaron Rodgers. And I think, they had Russell Wilson in the shotgun most of the game. They said that was so his finger didn't take a beating.
Get crushed in the snaps.
But at the same time, they're like, his finger wasn't a problem. I was like, clearly his finger is a problem.
Finger is a problem, right?
Because some of the throws were throws that you have not seen Russell Wilson make.
Off target, no doubt about it. Again, it just goes back to what we've talked about. I don't care who you are, Rodgers, Russell Wilson, practice is real. Wilson's been out for a long time. I mean, he went a long time without throwing any live footballs until this week. So to think you're going to go out there and just, tear the league up against a Green Bay Packers defense that is always coached well and has some talent, it's insane. It is. But I think, your middle finger throwing the football, and he had a little thing on it, like a little plastic covering towards the top. I mean, I'm sure that takes away from the feel of him throwing the football. So, yeah, we saw him sail some balls. We saw him make, really a horrible interception throw in the red area, right? And when it was 3-0, they can kick a field goal and tie the game. That was a backbreaker to the Seahawks offense and team altogether. But yes, he was off, and it's just back to the same old underwhelming Seahawks offense too. Again, they bother me. I don't know what their attack is certain weeks, and their inability to get the ball to Metcalf and Lockett. And I know Russell Wilson missed them a little bit too, certainly, but there just never seems to be a plan on getting them off early. I know it's been every now and then, a Jacksonville game, they really attacked. Okay, great. But it should be a weekly thing. And I think that's what's always disappointing about watching Seattle in these kind of games, too.
Yeah, the deep passes, usually Wilson and Lockett or Metcalf can hook up on a couple of them. They tried. Wilson was just 2 for 15 for 34 yards and 2 interceptions on passes 10 or more yards down the field.
Yeah, right. That became like when it was 3-0 and we got into like the late third quarter. I felt like that's what all they tried to do. It was almost like, let's just throw it deep and hopefully connect and that'll jumpstart us. There was no offense. There was no attack at all. And I know, hey, listen, Green Bay, Joe Barry, what he's doing on the defensive side of the ball, it deserves some attention. It does. He's taken that defense to a level that they have not reached the last few years. I think that's safe to say. And Joe Barry, who I was with in Tampa, he's got a little of that Seattle scheme. Rod Marinelli, he was coaching under in Detroit, remember back in those days?
Yep.
So there's a little bit of that involved. But to me, where he went to the next level as a defensive mind was his years with the Rams and being under like Wade Phillips and Brandon Staley. To me, I see the influence in that. Kind of some exotic coverages. They are game plan centric. Like, it's not like, this is what we do. Every week they tweak some things and do some different things. Mm-hmm. They're really good at passing off zone coverage, and then they can play some man to man. And they don't even have Jair Alexander back yet. So when they do that, that'll be special. Rashawn Gary got a little beat up in the game yesterday. I hope he's okay because he's quietly become like their best defensive player. But either way, good win by the Packers. And Rodgers was just, he was okay. He was good. He wasn't great. He threw a stupid interception in the red zone up 3-0. But late in the game, like he always does, they kind of got their footing underneath them and started executing.
Yeah, Brennan Daly 1252 says, "Can you please acknowledge that the Packers are winning most of these games because of their defense and not their offense?"
Yep.
We just did. So that defense has really stepped up. And you give Aaron Rodgers a good defense, you're going to go pretty far. They go pretty far without a great defense. And you also give Aaron Rodgers a good running game,
right?
And that's going to help a lot too. And so Aaron Jones went out of this one. Good news on that front, per Adam Schefter, an MRI revealing that Jones has a mild MCL sprain, expected to be out just 1 to 2 weeks. But in his absence, here you had A.J. Dillon, Quadzilla, the Quad Father.
The Quad Father.
Running over dudes.
I like it.
Running over Bobby Wagner. 65% of his rushes were over the expected amount of yards, according to Next Gen Stats.
Woo.
That was the second most in the NFL.
That means he's driving the pile.
He's driving the pile.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen a ton of A.J. Dillon
right.
over, since he was drafted. But clearly he can fill in. If it's only on a short-term basis, I think they're okay.
I love the combination of him and Aaron Jones, and he definitely can fill in. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think in a lot of ways, on a down-by-down basis, he's actually he kind of fits their style, and they benefit from his style a little bit more than they do Aaron Jones. And I don't mean that Aaron Jones, what I love about Aaron Jones is he's explosive, he's a big play guy. If he gets a little crack in the seam, watch out.
Yeah.
But if there's nothing there to be had, or the hole is small, and you got to play big boy football, he's a little underwhelming in that department. And again, hey, there's only so much you can do. He's not a real big guy. He's not going to be able to drive the pile. A.J. Dillon makes the Packers offense a little tougher. It gives them a physicality element that, I feel like we haven't seen the last few years from them. It's where, like we saw yesterday, we saw some carries where you go 2-yard gain. What? Oh, he got 5. Damn. Yeah. Whoa, that was 5. Whoa, he pushed the pile. Ooh, he pushed back Bobby Wagner in the hole and got 3 more yards after that. There's value in that, and I think that is special. Yeah, their defense, they're a tougher football team than they have been the last 2 years. Again, you wouldn't know what I've said about them a little bit. My only thing is, toughness and execution, I still just not sure. I wish they had one more playmaker, but either way, they do it week in, week out, and hopefully they prove me wrong.
Yep, they were good. That's a big win for the Green Bay Packers. They continue to roll. Maybe A.J. Dillon factors into the running game even when Aaron Jones comes back.
I think
fully
so.
Healthy
They've been infusing. It almost seems like it's been close to 50-50 as of late. But yeah, that's one of those. I don't think it matters who starts. Who cares? I'm sure they'll start Aaron Jones because they're paying him more money. But they're a great 1-2 combination. And think about it being a defender. It's like, whoa, we got to chase this guy around who's really fast. And then the next play, you're like, whoa, I got to stick my feet in the ground and I got to take on this guy. He's a load. Holy crap. And that's going to wear you out, too, as the game goes on.
So good running game for the Packers helps them win that game. Two teams that have two of the better running games in the NFL, the New England Patriots and the Cleveland Browns. The Browns scored on their first possession, so that was really good for them.
That was good.
That
game over.
That's their victory.
Yes.
That's their victory for the week. Who scored first? It was the Cleveland Browns. And then the Patriots came back and scored 45 straight. A blowout. This might be the most shocking final score of the weekend.
It is.
I'm trying to look at them all right here.
I'm with you there.
The fact that the fact that New England won, okay, yeah, I can see that. But the fact that they won 45-7, it was crazy. And it was like they were outplayed. And you mentioned it on the Peacock broadcast. It looked like New England thoroughly outcoached Cleveland on both offense and defense.
It's just typical New England. Like, oh, okay, yeah, Cleveland ran the ball well in the first drive, moved down, got a touchdown, right? I think Baker threw a 4th down touchdown pass. But, you better have more than just your first 10 plays to come at Bill Belichick and company. They're going to look at it and go, oh, wait, this is what they're doing to dissect us. Wait, we're the best that there ever is at in-game adjustments. Okay, we'll slow that down. Now, what's their next answer going to be? Oh, they got nothing. That's right. This is the concern, the disappointment of the Cleveland Browns a little bit. I've been saying it for a few weeks. If they can't run the ball, I'm not sure if their passing game can stand on its own. Didn't expect it to be able to stand on its own against this New England defense for sure. But I think, the defense dominating, but really the offense dominating the way it does too, or did yesterday, and kind of has been here as of late, is really impressive. Ramondre Stevenson has changed their football team. Power, can make people miss, got enough speed to break 40 and 50-yard runs. So that's really special. Their O-line has gotten healthy, and they kick butt. And, of course, they always have a few little plays to keep you off edge, the speed sweeps, the reverse. They do that. And then Mac Jones just continues to get better and better. I mean, the big thing yesterday, especially early in the game, was the Patriots staying in third and manageable, and how many times it was 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and then Mac Jones made a 6 or 7 yard throw to get the first down. That was really, they just killed Cleveland that way, kept Cleveland's defense on the field, and then it just became an absolute shit show from there.
Yeah, Cam 85-97, self-scout thyself, and a victory lap. We got a double for you right here.
Double whammy here.
You were higher on Mac Jones than most,
yep,
making him your number 3 rookie quarterback. So that's your victory lap.
Yeah.
Your self-scout thyself is. But should he have been higher? Played damn near perfect, showing accuracy, touch, and some 90-mile-an-hour fastballs. So he only 4 incomplete passes. His completion percentage, what was that? Career high. He's the first 83%. He's the first Patriots rookie with 3 or more touchdown passes in a game since Drew Bledsoe in 1993. So he was awesome. Should you have been higher on him?
I mean, I feel like I was as high on him as anybody in sports media.
Yes.
And maybe I should have been. I don't think his high-end talent is as good as Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. He's on a team that really knows how to coach and do things the right way and not put them in bad positions, right? So they really have done a great job of kind of massaging him to this point. But at the end of the day, as we said back during the draft, and Ahmed, you heard me say, he was the most NFL ready. There was a reason I was saying that. He is ready for the NFL game in all areas. And now, of course, he's getting to play and he's adjusting as he goes here. But I think that's the important thing we're seeing here. We're starting to see some wow throws every game right now, where you go, whoa, that was a good throw down the middle. That first touchdown pass he threw to Kendrick Bourne. I mean, that was a tight window right down the left seam. Kendrick Bourne goes up and makes a great catch.
Great catch.
But that still was a really good throw. He put it in a safe spot, and he put some mustard behind it.
Yeah.
And those are things like we didn't see early in the year. We saw 6-yard completion. Oh, nice touch on the crossing route. Oh, that was good. But now we're starting to see some game-changing type throws, and that to me is where it's gone to another level. He's feeling more confident. And the Patriots, I would just say, watch the out. Watch out. The Patriots are here, and they're one of the best teams in the AFC. They're Patriots 2001, 2003. We're watching it all happen here all again. It's the same thing. It's like Brady when he took over. It was, we don't need you to win the game for us. We need you to go 18 for 25, 210 yards, and throw a touchdown, and our defense and our run game, and we'll manage their game the right way, and we'll just suffocate people like that. And that's what we're kind of seeing here the last 4 or 5 weeks from the New England Patriots.
Yeah, it's like one of those teams where it's like they don't wow me, but how are we going to beat them?
That's exactly it. Because they're going to have a good game plan. The defense is good, so you're not going to just it doesn't matter who you are. You're not just going to march up and down the field on them.
Yeah.
And now you're starting to see the offense go, yeah, it doesn't wow you, but then there's a run for 7. Yeah. There's another run for 7. Oh, there's an in cut for 12. Oh, there's a reverse for 18. And you're just like, it's not like the most dangerous thing in the world, but they know how to tie plays together, execute. And really, one of the things I said on the Peacock show last night, or I think I said this on Sunday Night Football, I'm sorry. In the AFC, I mean, the Titans and the Patriots are the 2 hottest teams for sure. Mm-hmm. There's nobody been playing better football than them the last 4 or 5 weeks. And think about the Patriots. Blew a game in week 1 against the Dolphins. Toe-to-toe with the Bucs in the rain. Toe-to-toe with the Cowboys overtime. I mean, I think we can sit here and go, no, they're for real. And, I'm sure they'll lose another game or 2 as we go through the year here. They got a tough schedule. But, I mean, 3-4 weeks ago, I would have gone, well, they're not going to be able to beat the Bills.
Yeah.
Right now, I'd go, I don't know about that. It's very 50-50. They got the Tennessee Titans in 2 weeks. It's 50-50. So got to be excited about what the Patriots are doing right now.
Scarecrow Boat says, self-scout thyself. The Browns don't look anywhere close to a Super Bowl contender.
No, it's disappointing. Hey, the Browns are, as I said this 4 or 5 weeks ago, the Browns are maybe the most disappointing team in the NFL. I mean, period. There's that defense, that talent they have to get torched like that and dominated like that. That's embarrassing. Again, they're too much of a team right now that, they're learning a new scheme. They're trying to learn that Seattle scheme. I'm sure they don't have it down pat. I understand that. Early in the year, we broke down a lot of plays where they screw up and stuff. But, I'm just not a fan of that approach. You know that, Ahmed. This is what we do, and this is the way we're going to play. I think we're seeing teams like that, they're getting their ass gashed all the time lately. 49ers did it last week against the Cardinals. This is what we do. We don't change. Great. Well, they're going up and down the field on this is what we do. And then the same with the Browns yesterday. Yeah, it's disappointing that way. It's disappointing to have that offensive line, Baker Mayfield. I know there was no Nick Chubb yesterday. The receivers are still good there. I know there's no Odell Beckham Jr., but still a good group. They have good tight ends. To do that, that's embarrassing. I still get a lot of crap from Cleveland fans. And you said Stefanski wouldn't be a great hire. That's not going to work. And I want to still be like, so you're sold it is a great hire. It's 100%, huh? I mean, it's been good. But, again, it's a talented team. To lose 45-7 like that is very embarrassing.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, there's been a lot of drama there, too, that hasn't helped. So we'll see. This is a gut check time for the Cleveland Browns. Final thing on this game, and it's with our friends over at PointsBet. They got the odds for the Offensive Rookie of the Year. We talked about Mac Jones. His odds are getting better. So last week, Mac was plus 350, and now he is plus 165. Jamar Chase still the favorite, minus 160. But you got Mac Jones number 2, Najee Harris 3, Javonte Williams 4, and then you got a bunch of quarterbacks there with Lawrence and Fields, and then Kyle Pitts there, long shots. But Mac Jones is getting closer and closer because the quarterback's always going to have a little bit of an edge.
No doubt.
It seems like they do in every award every year.
Exactly right. No doubt.
So I wouldn't put it past him.
No.
Leads them to the playoffs?
Well, listen, Jamar Chase changed the Bengals team around, no doubt about it. I had this discussion with Florio last week on PFT. But, man, I mean, if we go the last 7-8 games of the year here, and they only lose 1 or 2 more games, and they end up 11-6 or something like that, 12-5. It'd be hard not to pick Mac Jones to be the offensive player of the year. There's a rookie offensive player of the year, no doubt. I mean, hey, what he's doing is special, and it's against one of the toughest they've had the toughest schedule in football, or was up there going into the season. So it's not like they're beating a bunch of cupcakes. He's played really well, and he's limited his mistakes. And then you start to talk about some of the players they've added to their team. The offense hasn't necessarily come around, right, as far as the tight end play, but we're seeing Hunter Henry here all of a sudden lately.
Yep.
He's popping, right? Kendrick Bourne makes a big play yesterday. He's been showing up a little bit here lately, more and more. That's good. The draft pick in Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, I talked about him. I think he's a stud. I love him. Defensively, again, J.C. Jackson, homegrown talent. He's going to get $20 million a year. Judon has a presence in every football game. Great free agent addition. Some other guys that, of course, have held up. Godshaw, another rookie, the second rounder, Barrymore. I mean,
yes.
Barrymore, I think, disrupts more plays for their defense than any other player on their team right now. And I said last week on the podcast, I think he's the best pass rusher on the team. He's become a real. So, Bill Belichick, the evaluator, has killed it here too. And now it's all coming together with his coaching and developing it, and they're playing real good football.
Yep. Hat Orb gave you another victory lap. He said the Pats defense may be the best in the league. Christian Barrymore changed the game by effing up the Browns run game. You deserve a victory lap for seeing the Pats coming all along. So they're giving people notice. People,
Thanks.
They don't just point out your flaws. They point out when you actually have good predictions.
Yep, and we'll point out my flaws when we get there too.
Yes,
we do
exactly.
like to do that.
All right, so Mac Jones making his way up the Offensive Rookie of the Year odds board. At one point, I thought Derrick Henry was my favorite.
Yeah,
he was my favorite.
Right, before
for
you
the
left.
MVP. And
That's
then
what we were talking about.
Yep, he left. He got hurt. Maybe he'll be back at the end of the year, playoff push, hopefully, because it looks like the Titans are going to get there. They win their 6th in a row. Last 5 have all come against teams that were in the playoffs in 2020. This was not a dominating performance against the Saints, who were without, Jameis Winston's out. They're with Trevor Siemian at quarterback. Alvin Kamara did not play in this game. Almost came back to tie it. Good effort by the Saints, but Tennessee just enough to win, and they did 23-21.
Well, it's like New England. They're just Vrabel's going to manage the game the right way. They very rarely shoot themselves in the foot, right? So you're going to have to, or maybe Green Bay. They're another team like that, where it might not always be the wow factor, but good physical offense and defensive line. Secondary really knows how to play, and they don't let up very many big plays. Ryan Tannehill and company, it's not like the most explosive offense in football, but they stay patient with the run game, and they're good enough in the pass game to where, they're going to be able to move the ball and make some plays. There's no doubt about that. This is what I enjoyed watching this game yesterday. It was a lot of fun to watch. And, I know Tirico last week and Sunday night before we got to, he's like, who's the team you would still take in the AFC? And I was like, I still think I'd take the Titans. I would. It was before the Rams game, and trust me, I thought the Rams were going to beat them.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I don't think the Titans are going to fall off earth here. I don't. But the way they've won the last 2 games, very impressive. But, Saints made some mistakes in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. I mean, here's some Saints mistakes that just jump out to me. Fumbling the kick return to start the second half.
Not good.
Right? Not good. Right before the half, Trevor Siemian, I think, took 2 sacks when they were kind of in field goal territory. Cost them 3 points.
Not good.
They missed 2 extra points in the game.
Yep.
Right? So there's a lot of points there.
They had 6 chances to score a touchdown deep, had to settle for a 20-yard field goal.
Exactly right. There we go. Thank you very much.
False start on the 2-point attempt.
On the 2-point conversion. Hurts them there. No doubt about it.
Roughing the passer.
Get the out of here with that call. That's where I was going. Like, get out of here. The NFL has a problem right now, and I'm going to start beating it down. I am. I'm going to start making lists and showing these plays and making it a thing because it's bothering me. It's costing games. It's ruining the viewing pleasure. That's what it's really doing. I mean, and again, it's not called the same. I could show you a play from last week's Monday night game against the Bears and the Pittsburgh Steelers and go, Justin Fields got hit late and way harder than that hit right there, and you didn't call it, but this one you called, and it changed the game. Or, of course, the horrible blocking call on Monday Night Football last week. The referees have lost touch with the game, and the NFL needs to step in and do something because it's a real issue, and that play right there, it makes me mad at the NFL and football. Are you kidding me? The Titans can't protect, and he throws a stupid decision throw. First down, guy. Hey, we know you guys did a lot of horrible things on that play, but we're going to give you a first down because that was horrible quarterback play and horrible blocking.
So
that was a pitiful, pitiful call, and it was not why the rule was thrown into the NFL. And the referees got to have some common sense. And you know what they say about common sense. It ain't that common right now. It's not. Yeah, that's from Yogi Berra. Put it on my tab.
So what was that third down there? What
I think it was. I want to say it was a second or third down. I need to probably look it up exactly. I forget the exact situation there. I think it was. It might have been a third down.
Was it? Okay.
Third down. He's throwing the crosser into the back left corner of the end zone. The guy's not open. Marcus Williams is sitting there waiting for the crosser to come across. He's got pressure. He tries to throw like the perfect touch ball. I think he's trying to put it way back in the back of the end zone. Hopefully his guy can get it. He misses the throw a little bit. It was a first down at the 8-yard line, Pete's saying there.
Okay.
And that led to a touchdown, right? If I remember correctly, right.
Yeah.
It led to a touchdown, and it changed the dynamic of the game. I mean, again,
and that's the argument. There are certain, all scoring plays are reviewed, right? All turnovers are reviewed.
Yeah.
There are certain penalties that have as much, if not more, impact on the outcome of a game.
Definitely.
And so I feel like nothing's an easy fix, because you run into all extenuating circumstances.
Yeah.
But it seems like if you can make some of these penalties that impact the game that much and take another look at it and be like, you know what, that was so borderline.
Yeah.
We can't let that go on.
I agree with you. Why do they even have to take a look at it? I saw the NFL get involved in 70 plays yesterday from 345 Park Avenue in New York and go pick up the flag or change this. Or we saw it last night in the Monday night game. The Sunday night game. I can't remember the exact play, but they called it they called the no fumble, right? They called it no fumble. Nobody challenged it or anything. The NFL got in their ear and went, no, he fumbled and the Raiders recovered it. You got everything wrong. And they went, actually, after further discussion and listening to people who were telling us about the replay, he did fumble and the Raiders did recover the ball.
Yeah.
Like, why can't they get on the headset and go, hey, referee, let's pick up the flag. You messed it up. That's not what it's there for. And again, it's the forcible shots in the head. That's why this rule was brought up. Not for, my pinky nail rubbed across his neck. And none of that happened in that game. So right now, referees are determining games. And right now, the NFL needs to figure out something to do about that because the Bears probably lost last week because of the referees. Points were taken off the board on the stupid in-the-box low block rule. And then, of course, yesterday, that cost the New Orleans Saints 7 points. And who knows where that game goes. And, of course, they lost by 2. And I know they made their mistakes. But I'm all for the teams making the mistakes, not the referees and over-officiating the game.
Yeah, very unsatisfying.
Yeah,
very unsatisfying. But for Tennessee here, in a season that started out with a blowout loss to the Cardinals,
right.
They were down 14 to Seattle. In Seattle, came back and won that game week number 2, lost to the Jets in week 4. I mean, talk about a disastrous start to the season for the Tennessee Titans, and now to rip off this many wins in a row. Big props to Jeffery Simmons. He's a huge F up the play guy. He might be the number 1 F up the play guy
he could be
this
the
year
last
in the
few
NFL.
Weeks, no doubt about it. It's up there. It is. I mean, he's just got such explosion coming off the ball and gets underneath guys' pads to where he just gets them on skates. Let alone he's kind of got the quickness to be able to shoot a gap or do something like that. And, again, you got to be careful. I know Bud Dupree got hurt yesterday, but they got some other guys on the defensive line that you got to worry about a little bit right now with Harold Landry and Danico Autry and company. So they got a good thing going there. They got good linebackers. They got a good secondary, and hopefully they won't choke like you are right now.
My energy drink gets me like once a show now.
Bam. It's a sign. It's called karma. Yes.
They say move on. Go to the next game. Big win for Tennessee.
Big win for Tennessee.
I sound like Cam Newton.
Yeah, I'm back. You okay? It's all right. Get it out.
No, it's going to take a whole game.
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to take another game to get me back normal again. And speaking of back normal again, good transition. The Vikings get the win.
This is awesome.
I'm falling apart. I got to get this stat out because it might be the most amazing stat. I'll give you one more cough.
Oh, this is great. This is awesome.
I'm back. All right,
Yeah.
I'm back.
Good.
The most amazing stat that I will read. The Vikings, the only team in the NFL this year to lead every game by 7 or more points.
Wow.
And they're 4-5. They did get the win over the Chargers. You go.
You breathed it down, didn't you? It's like in your air passage right now. Oh, man, that's a good one.
That was bad.
Yeah, the Vikings are, again, not a great football team. But, offensively, they're going to be patient with the run. If you're open, Kirk Cousins is going to hit you. I don't go, wow, what creativity, what schemes. Defensively, again, not great talent, but I do look at them and go, wow, they're coached well. They do a lot of good things. They give their defense a fighting chance with the way Mike Zimmer plays the game and does things like that. I'm a little mad, I think, from this standpoint that I didn't pick Minnesota to win this game because I should have realized Mike Zimmer was going to know this offense too. First off, we're seeing I think the thing that jumps out to me that's the most shocking thing is the Chargers offense. It has not been the same. I know they had the good game a few weeks ago against the Eagles where the Eagles were, they play this bend, don't break defense, and they just give up so many easy completions, and they've changed that the last few weeks. But I do think teams have caught on to the Joe Lombardi Chargers offense. They don't run the ball that well, and they don't have a guy that can threaten you down the field. They got good receivers, don't get me wrong. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen are really good. They're number ones as far as like the type of receiver as they are, but they're not like speed guys. They need somebody to open up the field a little bit for them. And the offense, to me, in my opinion, is too much looking always for the 5 or 8 yard completion. They don't threaten you enough down the field. Herbert was a little off yesterday, for sure. I think that's one thing that jumped out to me. But I think we saw the same formula as we always do. Just a smattering of good runs by Dalvin Cook from Minnesota. And then, oh, wait, now they're playing man-to-man, and I'm going to hit Justin Jefferson on a boot or a go route down the sidelines a few times. And that's how the Vikings play, and they're tough to beat once they get that run game going just a little bit.
Some huge plays for Justin Jefferson.
Yeah, it's a baller.
And there were 2 late clutch drives, basically, by the Vikings
Yes,
here. It was a 9-play, 66-yard drive, ending in a 4th and goal touchdown to Tyler Conklin.
Yep.
They ran 8 of 12 plays the next drive, ending with the Dalvin Cook touchdown.
Yep.
So they really did. That offense was keyed in at the end of this game. For the Chargers, a little worrying. They've lost 3 of their last 4.
Yep.
Those losses, though, to the Ravens, Patriots, and now Vikings, those aren't terrible teams.
No, they're not.
Are they still a playoff contending team in your mind?
They are a playoff contending team, but they have some real flaws about them. It's just hard to win with the worst run defense in football. And I know yesterday they were better. Well, they were a little better yesterday because the Vikings don't give you a lot to worry about in the pass game. Again, go look at Justin Jefferson's catches in the game. It's not like, oh, wow, these are beautifully designed plays. It's just him beating a guy one-on-one and Cousins putting the ball in the right spot. That's all it is. It's hard to win that way week after week after week. But, the Chargers, they're a playoff-ish type football team. But like a team that I don't look at to be dangerous in any way. I don't. Can't run the ball, can't stop the run. A little bit of an inability to find explosive passes in the pass game right now. That to me worries me a little bit. There's no doubt. And we'll see where it goes from there. Yeah, I know their run defense was a little better yesterday, but like I said, it's just because they knew there was a simple attack from the Vikings. So they probably took a few more chances. I'm guessing that's what I'll see when I watch on film. But, yeah, Chargers in the thick of this. Going to be in this conversation for the 7th seed and all of that, but I don't think like a real threat in the AFC to make any run once it comes playoff time.
All love to the Vikings, though. Vikes 90-90. Love the pod, guys. Damn okay. Mike Zimmer, 5 Pro Bowl level guys out. The D still shuts down Herbert and the Chargers. So congratulations to the Vikings offensively and defensively, and Kirk Cousins as well. I looked this up.
Yeah.
This is a stat I saw here. He owns the best touchdown to interception ratio in the NFL this season.
Yeah.
18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and it's a perfect 12 touchdowns, no interceptions in 5 road games this year.
Well, listen, when there's something to be there's something to be had, he's going to take advantage of it. You could say what you want about Kirk Cousins. Yeah, when the defense is, all over their run game and all over their passing attack and knows what to defend, is he the kind of guy that's going to be able to carry you on his back and make plays? No. It's like what we saw against the Dallas Cowboys a few Sunday nights ago, right? Yeah, that's not his bread and butter. But if you just give him a little bit of a schematical advantage, he will take advantage of all that's there to be had. He's extremely accurate, and then even with that touchdown-to-interception ratio, he's just got a great feel of when to be really aggressive and push the ball and throw it into a tight window, and when to go, I got to take a sack or throw it away. He understands what he is. He understands what his team is. And I think they play the right way more weeks than not. And damn okay to Mike Zimmer is right from our listener there. 100%. I mean, they've played good defense with not very talented defense all year. And, I don't even know. Like, statistically, I know they're not ranked anywhere special, but he gives them a fighting chance.
Yeah. And they were real bad last year.
They were real bad last year. And, hey, one of the big plays of the game that we didn't hit on, it was Kendricks making the interception. Justin Herbert throwing a ball down the middle of the field. Kendricks gets the interception. That gave him the short field, kind of gave him an easy touchdown there early on in the football game. And but good for them, battling back and being clutch in the fourth quarter.
And Mike Zimmer, old school guy, probably still reads the newspaper. I don't know about that, but I'd be willing to bet that he does that. And speaking of reading the newspaper, it's time to give me the headlines presented by Hyundai. And we'll start with the Washington football team. This one came late in the pod here for such a big win and a disappointing result off a bye for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers lose to Washington 29-19.
Yeah.
What's your headline?
Drunk on Heineke, baby.
Oh, there we go. 256 yards, career high, 81% completion percentage.
Yeah.
And a win.
And a win.
In a great final drive. 19 plays. 80 yards, over 10 minutes against a dominant Super Bowl winning defense from a year ago.
It's not dominant in that way right now. Yes. It's not. Now, they still have the potential to be. But, I think you look at it, Washington, good game plan on the offensive side of the ball. Washington's got a pretty good O-line, so they weren't overwhelmed by the Bucs defensive line at any point in the football game. Of course, Tampa and Brady made some mistakes early on in the football game that, of course, helped Washington out. There's no doubt about that. Washington, I think we had a good first drive, right? They got a field goal. Brady throws the interception on that drive, the first pass. That wasn't his fault to Darden. Ball pops in the air, interception. That leads to another field goal. And then I think a few plays later, Brady throws an interception that was his fault down the middle, which was just a bad read and a bad throw. I don't know really what he was quite looking at it there. But then Washington gets a touchdown there, and you're going, oh, wow, okay, wait, it's 13-0. Like 13-0 in the NFL, that's not going to be easy to overcome no matter who you are. And you saw, I think the big thing to me with the game, if I just had to sum it up in a few phrases, would be this. Washington's defense didn't give up big plays to the Bucs. In fact, the only big play I can really think of is the Mike Evans touchdown in the fourth quarter down the left sideline, right? That was about the only big play I saw all day. And then the other thing is the Buccaneers, their secondary, their lack of cover guys, Heineke just picked them apart with intermediate pass completions all game long. And then they ran the ball just well enough to just always keep them in good situations. And that's ultimately led to that drive that you talked about. What was it, a 19-play drive, 10 minutes?
19 play, yeah.
I mean, come on. That was, some smattering of some good runs here and there, but not really. A lot of just intermediate nice throws by Heineke. And he kept that drive going and got the win and really put the nail in the coffin right there.
Yeah, Washington efficient, scored on their first 4 possessions, got out to a lead, and their defense stepped up against Tom Brady off a bye, who usually, last year that's when they took off.
Right.
And historically, in fact, this is a 10-point loss was the biggest by Brady, a Brady-led team coming off a bye in his career.
Wow.
And after the game, Bruce Arians says, quote, "The stupidity has to go away." He said they're a very dumb team. And he did say that's a reflection on the coaching. He also said they think they can improve and get better.
Yeah, of course.
But he called them a very dumb team.
Yeah,
Oops.
Hey, they got a little bit of a renegade, personality about them. I don't know if I necessarily looked at anything dumb that they did yesterday.
Yeah, 2 interceptions by Brady.
2 interceptions, right? I mean, I know he threw the interceptions against the Saints, so certainly weren't good. So he's not seeing the field or playing his best football right now. And again, They're missing some weapons. Gronk's a game changer. I mean, yeah, the greatest tight end in the history of football. He affects the games. Antonio Brown affects the games. And this is, to me, like, these last two games, again, and this is why Tom Brady's not a top 5 quarterback at the age of 45. I'm sorry. In these type of games, if the offense doesn't deliver, Brady doesn't deliver much. All right, he doesn't make any plays off schedule. He does nothing.
Oh boy.
So no, I know the haters are going to come out, but you got to put it into like realistic things here. We got to put it. He's still got Godwin and Evans and a really good offensive line, and it wasn't perfect. And yeah, he's making mistakes, and he makes very little plays off schedule. That's why he's not a top 5 quarterback. Deal with it, everybody.
5 turnovers
still
during
really
the
good
2-game losing streak for Brady, and he is having issue at home versus on the road. I think we have some numbers that indicate that. So at home this season, perfect 4-0, 18 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. On the road, 2-3, 9 touchdown passes, 5 interceptions.
Yeah, so they lost the Saints yesterday and the Rams game right on the road. Those were all, some games, yes, that Brady did not play his best football. I'm not panicked. I'm not panicked about, Tampa Bay. I'm not. If they get healthy here and
Seems
everything,
like
they're still got too much talent on their football team, and Brady will get back on the right track.
Vita Vea, sprained MCL, bone bruise, won't miss much time.
That's good.
So that's what we're hearing there.
That was huge.
Chase Young, that seemed bad. I don't know. I don't know if we have more news on that, but that seemed like that could be
I know they fear ACL,
and
again, I'm not a doctor, and I'm not trying to make any proclamations, but that does look like one of those that's like one of those non-contact. He made a cut, and the knee went on him, and, feel for him. So hopefully he gets better soon. And, hey, listen, other thing, too, here. I know they won 19-29. Horrible penalty right before halftime by the Washington defense that gave the Bucs the field goal with no time left.
Yeah, face mask on the tackle.
Right, exactly. And then, it was 23-13. They throw a first down throw, and the wide receiver fumbles, right? Was it Malign, or I'm not sure if I say his name the right way. So, again, it just showed you, like, Washington, getting those turnovers early kind of controlled the football game. It was never a point where you were like, I thought the Bucs were going to come back and win. I'm not going to lie.
Me too.
But I never at any point was like, oh, wait, Washington's really being overwhelmed and out-hit, and like they're barely hanging on here. I didn't get that sense. I did think the Bucs would come back and win, but Washington played a good football game, all the way through.
Good for Washington. Good for the Eagles, who beat the Broncos 30-13. Your headline for that game.
Oh, hold on. I got to flip to that page there. Sorry, I'm a little slow.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, this is a good one.
Uh-oh.
Teddy B.
Yeah.
As in B for business decision.
Okay. You're talking about that turning point in the game. The Darius Slay, big play Slay, picks up the fumble. It was a 4th and 1 for Denver. They were down a touchdown, aggressive going for it. If they can get that, maybe they go down, tie the game.
Right. It's 20-13.
In one play, though, you fumble, and then Slay goes 83 yards the other way. There were a few players that had a chance to tackle him along the way. One of those, perhaps, Teddy Bridgewater, and he decided to not do that.
Not do that to such an egregious way that I thought, did he think the play had been blown dead? It was that bad. That to me.
Or it was against the rules for him to touch Darius
I don't
Slay?
know. I don't know. Yeah, maybe they would have flagged Darius Slay. Who knows, though? They would have been like, you hit the quarterback too hard. We got to give the ball back to the Broncos. He ran him over. I don't know.
They asked Teddy Bridgewater about it after the game, and he said that he was just trying to force him back inside.
He's going to lose a lot of respect in the locker room after that. I can just tell you that.
You really think so?
No doubt about it. Listen, they're smart. Like, the team can get around smart, like, okay, yeah, he didn't throw his body out here and like do something like stupid. We don't need that. We don't need him headhunting like we saw Baker Mayfield hurt his shoulder against Chicago early in the year. They can understand that. But first off, it's Darius Slay, who weighs 190 pounds. All right, you're bigger than him, and it's a huge moment of the football game. You just got to get in the way and let him trip and fall over you. That's all you got to do. It's just, you're going to get run over. So what? That's a bad look, and as bad a look as I can remember. Again, I don't know what else to say. I know that was a total business decision, and that's going to be a tough one to sell on the rest of the team. It's a huge moment of the game, just to me there. Again, I don't know. You hold them to a field goal. maybe they don't score a touchdown. You're still in that, but that kind of put the nail in the coffin. It was night from there on out.
And the story really is, outside of that play for Denver, the story is Philadelphia and how dominant they were offensively and defensively, because I think they held Denver, who lit up Dallas the previous week offensively here. But it was Jalen Hurts in the first half, 15 of 20, a couple of touchdowns in the first half. And then he only attempted 3 passes in the second half because that run game was so good. Goes over 200 yards, 40 attempts. Third game in a row, the Philadelphia run game has gone over 175 yards. And so are we seeing a team gaining steam and going to be a problem for teams down the stretch?
Oh, on my Thursday Picks podcast, this was one of my upset alerts. I'm mad I didn't pick it. I am, but I looked at it and I said, this is a game that there could be an upset. Don't look at the records here. Philadelphia is onto something. They are on to, my assessment of what they do. First off, I think their defense has changed a little bit here to stop being so like bend, don't break. They're not giving as many easy completions, or I'm hoping as we go forward here, right? But I think all in all, the offense and what they're doing on that side of the ball is clearly the new driving force for their football team. It's all going through the running game. They've gotten away from, let's stop trying to be Phillip Rivers with the Chargers offense, which, of course, is where their offensive coordinator's from. And, of course, he was from, their head coach is from Frank Reich, who was involved in some of that, too. Like, let's stop doing that. Jalen Hurts isn't Phillip Rivers. Let's play to his strengths and the strengths of our football team. First off, they have a big, overpowering offensive line, right? And Hurts is a gifted runner at the quarterback position. He's got real speed and strength, and they're playing to that. And that, to me, has changed them. I think what we've seen the last few weeks is run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, play action pass, or take a shot to Devontae Smith. That's a tough combination to beat. And they got a few game plan design runs with Jalen Hurts every week, let alone they're just staying patient with the run. And they're like one of those teams I'd go, like we said with Carolina earlier, I'd go, don't count Philadelphia out yet. They continue to play this way. I think they're better than the Atlanta and Minnesotas of the world that are a little above them right now in the rankings. I think their team has more potential and more talent than those two football teams.
Compass Traveler says, self-scout thyself, Jalen Hurts' progress. And you said at the beginning of the year, you're like, maybe I was too low on Jalen Hurts.
Right.
But it does seem like now it is him, right? Great runner, but they're playing to his strength.
They're playing the right way on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, they stopped trying to, put the round peg into the square hole there with him a little bit and stop trying to, like I said, make him Phillip Rivers of the Chargers. That's not who he is.
Yeah.
So that's what's good.
Has he moved up significantly in your eyes or no?
Well, listen, I mean, 3 weeks ago, every Eagles fan in the world and the Eagles radio people were like, you're right about he's not a top 40.
Well, the beginning of the year, they go, you're wrong.
Right, the first game of the year. And then it became, I think you're right. And now the last 3 games, and I'm going to go, listen, he's good. If they play this way, that's great. Yeah. They got to play this style of football, though. This is what fits them as a football team and makes sense. So I like that aspect of them, and it gives them a fighting chance, and I think it plays to their defense, and, of course, it plays to their strength of their offensive line, which is one of the best things they got going for them.
Fletcher Cox, a guy you like a whole lot, 7 quarterback pressures in the game just by him alone. Davian Taylor had a couple forced fumbles as well, including that one for the Darius Slay 83-yard Teddy B business decision.
So wait, I gotta pull it up here as I look through this. Like, what were his stats yesterday? Hurts, here we go. 16 for 23, 178, 2 touchdowns. That's exactly what it should be.
Basically all in the first half.
But it's all right. It's the way it should be. To me, that's when they are going to be their best. I want to look at the week before, the Chargers game. They played good on 11 for 17, 162 yards, 1 touchdown. But they ran the ball for 176 yards. The week before that, they had the Detroit win, right? I just want to look one more time, just kind of like reaffirm my own brain and what I'm thinking about here. But 9 for 14 for 103 yards, right? But they ran for 236 yards as a total offense. So, again, smart football. They're doing what's right for their football team, and they're doing what's right for Jalen Hurts.
And finally, doing what's right for their fan base, the Detroit Lions didn't lose. In fact, they didn't lose for the second week in a row. And that brings us to our headline right here, which is bye and tie. So I tweeted
well
this.
Done.
I go, historic 2-game undefeated stretch for the Lions, bye and tie. I guess it's a 2-week stretch. But so they haven't lost for a couple weeks in a row. But to be honest with you, as a Lions fan, this was as depressing as a loss, I felt like. The end of that game was so bad, where whatever team had the ball had less of a chance to win than I felt like the defense. Like, I felt like it was a better chance that a defense was going to score or set up a short field for a field goal. It was rainy. It was terrible conditions in Pittsburgh. Ben had COVID. Jared Goff didn't. He played, though. It was just like the first tie of the season. It was a mess at the end of the game. Probably no team, no fan walks away from that game feeling any good.
No.
Lions, Steelers, 16-all.
No, it was ugly. I mean, it was ugly weather. You know, a game that I expected the Steelers to kind of win ugly.
Yeah.
You know, it was one of those where did not expect a lot of points, but I expected like a 20-13 Steelers victory. That's what I was kind of looking at this game. And really, it played out that way in a lot of ways. But they just made mistakes at some moments that kind of kept things going for the Lions. I mean, I think the first thing I want to say, am I surprised the Lions ran the ball that way on the Pittsburgh Steelers? Yes, 100%.
229 rushing yards, fourth most allowed by the Steelers in the Mike Tomlin era. And this is a week after that. Dan Campbell said he kind of took more of a role in the offensive play calling, I believe, and so it was like a concerted effort to run the ball. You saw Dan Campbell over there with the big play sheet looking at it the whole time.
Hey, I think Dan Campbell's a good coach.
I love Dan Campbell.
I do too.
Although it did at times look like he was like, I don't even know what half these plays mean. But.
Well, he's probably just like, hey, run that play where we block down and pull the guard and kick the defense.
Do we have one of those plays?
He's probably like that. He comes from the school of Parcells coaching, where that's a little bit the way they are. Overseers.
Yeah.
Wait, we can't do this against this team. Let's do that. That makes more sense for us. That's what he is a little bit. Again, I'll say with Dan Campbell, I think almost every game they played this year has been managed the right way, and they maximize what they have as a football team, which is not that much talent. Now, the one thing that they got going for them now, if they got the healthy O-line and Taylor Decker back, their O-line has got some ass kickers on it. So maybe this is something we can continue to see here as we go forward.
Penei Sewell, first 5 weeks struggled. The last 4 or 5 weeks, he's been really good.
Right.
And in this game, 29 pass blocking snaps, 0 pressures
allowed. There we go. He's back at right tackle, right? Right. Was he back at right tackle yesterday?
I think so,
I'm pretty
right?
sure.
I think they were moving him back over there.
He was back over at right tackle. I know. This is where I got to go watch film and see little details like that, because I kind of just chalked it up.
But that was the plan. That's going to be the plan.
That's the plan. It makes sense. But yeah, you look at that group up there. They can move some people. There's no doubt about that. And I think, hey, Mason Rudolph, bad interception. Big punt return by the Lions that set up the first touchdown for them to score. Of course, the drive in the second half where they break the big run to score the touchdown. And then, Pittsburgh turning the ball over when they were getting on fringe territory to kick a field goal a few times, of course, hurt their football team and hurt their ability to kind of, win an ugly football game. It's the same thing we say, just Big Ben wasn't there.
Yep.
Pittsburgh can win every game ugly through their defense as long as they don't kind of mess it up. And they kind of messed it up yesterday.
They're like a poor man's version of the Tennessee Titans right now.
A little bit.
Right?
There's just less offense to talk about there. But hey, positives for them. They ran the ball pretty good with Najee Harris and stuff. They're staying patient there, doing some good things. But yeah, they don't have a lot of room for wiggle, or a lot of wiggle room, I should say.
Yeah.
And they can't make many mistakes, or you'll see, just like with the Bears game last week. They were kind of controlling. They fumbled a punt. And all of a sudden, oh my gosh, we're hanging on for dear life. So that's just the way they are, and that's what to expect from them.
Sonny Liston 123 says, Chris, seriously, how is Mason Rudolph still playing professional football?
Thank you.
How is he given the opportunity when there are younger, better, more athletic players out there? And this is interesting. There was a NFL Network reporter that tweeted out after the game. Spent warm-ups throwing lousy. About Dwayne Haskins here. Spent warm-ups throwing lousy passes and checking his phone. Ben may not be who he once was, but there's a reason he's your quarterback, Steelers fans.
So that was Dwayne Haskins they were saying?
They were saying that about Dwayne Haskins, because we've talked about him being the future,
right?
And so it's like, why is he not playing, and why is Mason Rudolph playing? And we saw Mason Rudolph's not all that good, and so they don't have the future franchise quarterback there on the roster.
No, they don't. I mean, I still would say Dwayne Haskins has the potential to be that. Maybe we'll see. I said a few weeks ago, listen,
he was checking his phone, though.
Well, yeah, it's not a good look. He's immature. That's why they didn't put him out there yesterday.
Yeah.
They don't trust him yet. They know that. I mean, well, what did he do last year in Washington the year before to say you're in the trust tree? We're going to, they want to play a style of football where they want the quarterback not to mess it up. Yeah, he might have a little more talent, but I don't think he's trusted to that capacity quite yet. So that's a real thing. There's no doubt about it. Listen, I said a few weeks ago to Paul Burmeister, I think, to me, Pittsburgh is going to get one of these quarterbacks after the year. They're going to get one of them. I don't know if it's Watson or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers or whoever, but they're not going to – I don't think they're going to draft a quarterback with this team and go, let's start back from scratch. I don't see that. I would be shocked if they don't make a play. But getting back to that point right there, yeah, Mason Rudolph's not good. I've been trying to tell everybody this. Pittsburgh's stubborn a little bit because they drafted him, and, some idiots in the draft evaluation thought he was a first-round quarterback. I don't know what they were looking at there, but he's not. So they're staying patient to that. But there's too many errant throws. And listen, one of the quiet, weird things that happened in the football game was the field goal. And I wrote this down. They go up 16-13, right?
Yep.
It's 13-all. They go up 16-13. Or no, maybe they made it 16-13, right? Is that what I'm looking at here? Yeah, they made it. The Lions were up 16-10.
Yes.
Mason Rudolph had a third down throw to a wide open receiver in the end zone. I mean, it was a 5-yard throw. He was wide open with nobody around him, and he threw it in the dirt. And they kicked a field goal instead to make it 16-13. I think I got that right there. Sorry for everybody out there. But to me, just says the bigger problems. He just not great power in his arm, loses control of the football. It's got a little bit of a funky throwing motion. And to your point, no, the future quarterback is certainly not there.
That was Give Me the Headlines presented by Hyundai. And in an upset of all upsets, the Lions, not the last game we're going to talk about. We got one more game we'll talk about real quick here. It is Indianapolis beating Jacksonville 23-17. Colts got out to a 17-0 lead in the first quarter and then had to hang on. Carson Wentz could not put the game away. They did not really lean on Jonathan Taylor after that. He had some big runs early in the game. But the Colts defense strong enough to keep Jacksonville, who has looked good at times this year.
Jacksonville's defense got talent. That's what I've been trying to say to people. They do. They got real talent.
So positives for both teams. I think the Colts probably walk away thinking we should have won that game by more, but they do get the victory over Jacksonville.
Yeah, they got the victory. I mean, it was. You're right. You hit it on. I mean, early in the game, I went, oh my gosh, the Colts are just gashing them in the run game.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Jonathan Taylor's going to end up with 200 yards. I don't know where that went in the second half. Obviously the Jaguars did a little bit better job defending it, but I would like to be able to see a little bit more of the specifics there to what made that happen. But Jonathan Taylor and the punt block for a touchdown, were huge points for the Colts to get them off to an early lead. And
it was enough.
It was enough. I mean, other than the Jaguars breaking the long touchdown run, it was Strugglesville all day long for them to kind of move the ball. They got a little juice going there, late in the game to get a late touchdown and make things really interesting. But ultimately, Trevor Lawrence and company got the chance late in the game, strip sack fumble there. That ended it. And really, hey, wait, one more thing with Carson Wentz. Made maybe the biggest throw of the game on a 3rd and long, running to his right. That got them in field goal territory to put them up by 6 points. That was one play that really popped to me as far as from Carson Wentz. But yeah, Colts a little weird lately.
Little weird, but they're still in the mix. And Frank Reich saying afterwards, why not us?
Yeah, I get it.
Weird AFC.
I get it. It is a weird AFC. They have some things about their team that I like, but
they got pieces. I mean, they got pieces in a strong defense. I mean, that defense and Quiddy Pay stepped up, their first-round pick.
I get it, yeah.
First career sack, 3 quarterback hits.
The defense is a little all over the place to me at times. That's why I just don't, the way they looked in the Jets game 2 Thursdays ago, they played good against the Titans, but the offense messed some things up. Yesterday, the inability to really kind of string drives together or do anything special that way. They let the Jags hang around a little too long for my comfort.
Jonathan Taylor was the second fastest ball carrier of the week on that 34-yard run early in the game. The fastest, also in this game, Jamal Agnew.
He was flying around the edge. I mean, he didn't get touched.
He didn't get touched.
Right around the left edge, gone.
He's a good player. He's a good player. I like watching him. But Colts get the win. Jacksonville loses. One more game to go this week as we wrap up the pod. It is our Monday night game. PointsBet gives us some numbers, some odds for this one. PointsBet says this is Rams and 49ers. It is Rams by 3.5. The over-under is 50.5. So they think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game, I guess.
Yeah.
Chris, you said on the Picks Pod on Thursday that the Rams are going to win by 5 over San Francisco. Are you standing by that?
I am. I mean, I'm never going to change there. I'm going to go Rams 28-23. I think that's the score I picked on the podcast.
No more Robert Woods.
There's one, though, that I did, just like Broncos and Titans, as you could see.
I do.
I wrote upset alert.
Ooh.
I did it right, upset alert.
Okay.
There's some aspects here. You know, I think the 49ers, their D-line, they might be able to slow the run game down a little bit, make things interesting there. The Rams, I'm interested to see what they look on defensive side of the ball. If we see Odell Beckham Jr. tonight, I think the Rams are clearly the better football team, but there's always the common knowledge of both coaching staffs here that jumps out to me, and this is a big-time desperation game for the 49ers.
You got it's desperate time for San Francisco. So you have the Rams covering, you have the over as well. And we have a lot of the players here up prominently on the desk in the bobblehead, but they're all wearing the wrong jersey. We got Odell in the wrong jersey. He'll be in the game. Von Miller in the wrong jersey. Do we know if Von Miller's going to play?
I think he's playing tonight.
Is he playing?
He is.
He is playing. Pete says he's playing. We got Matt Stafford here, wrong jersey. And actually Aaron Donald, wrong jersey. Not the updated version.
We're doing good. NBC doesn't have football in the NFL or anything, so why would we have the right jerseys on these guys?
And then over there we got Nick Bosa, Jimmy Garoppolo, and we've got who's that over there?
Phil and Daniel Jones.
Oh, with
Danny
Kittle
Dimes
there on the end.
And the Phil the flamethrower over there.
Does Odell have a big game, his first game in the Rams uniform?
I don't know. I think his presence, they'll try to sneak him a ball or two to kind of jumpstart things a little bit. I've had a lot of people go like, well, why would the Rams even care about Odell Beckham Jr., right? The Rams are thin at running back. Darrell Henderson's already been banged up a few times this year. Sony Michel has a knee problem where he's never going to be the same. So I think they realize, like, we might have some games as we go here that we have to rely on the pass game. We're just not going to be able to run the ball. So we need some more firepower, let alone I think why they signed him a little bit is exactly why we saw it. Because they knew, like, wait, okay, running game a little dicey with our running back position. We're relying on Stafford in the passing game and 3 guys. If one of those guys goes down, oh, man, our team's in trouble. Oh, guess what happened at Friday practice? Robert Woods got hurt.
Yeah.
And there's Odell Beckham Jr. Thank God they signed him for that. I had a friend this weekend go, like, do you think Woods got hurt before that and they just didn't tell anybody and that's why they signed Odell Beckham Jr.? No. First off, none of those guys are that good of secret keepers that wouldn't have gone out.
You wouldn't know.
There's no way there. You was seeing probably a more aggressive push by the Rams to get Odell Beckham Jr. if that was the case. But either way, I like the Rams tonight. I still think they're one of the best teams in football. I just think they have too much to offer in the passing game. The 49ers are too simple on the defensive side of the ball. It's too predictable. And I don't trust the 49ers offense. Like, to me, at some point tonight, they'll probably be driving or moving the ball and having success, and they'll mess it up. Somebody will mess it up. Kittle will fumble. Jimmy will throw a dumb interception. Ayuk will fumble. The running back will trip and fall and fumble. That's kind of what they've been all year long, and that's kind of what I expect from them.
You sound like a true 49er fan now.
Right now,
very,
I do,
very
right?
pessimistic 49er nation. So that's it. That's Week 10. One more game to go. You'll talk about perhaps that game and some other of these deep dives on Wednesday with Paul.
Yep, Wednesday, What the Happened podcast. Please keep sending in questions, everything there. I'm disappointed you're ditching me after one time in 2 weeks. Jeez.
That's all I can take.
He's a one-timer. Bam. Bam, wham, bam. Thank you, ma'am. But appreciate everybody listening. Keep in touch through social media. We'll be back Wednesday. Chris Sims Unbuttoned, presented by Under Armour. We're always thankful for the Under Armour sponsorship. Peace out, homies. Clap it up.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.